Great Scott! If my calculations are correct, it should be precisely October 21st, 2020. This year's been pretty garbage. Here's a review of Back to the Future 1 and 2 and 3. So, yeah. Now, Back to the Future came out in 1985, although it was being pre-produced for about a year or two, I think, before, pre-production, and then shooting, which took a couple months. They shot the entire movie with Eric Stoltz, and then it wasn't right, as the film crew identified, so they fired him, and then replaced him with Michael J. Fox, who was the original choice, but he was shooting Family Ties. You've probably heard that from any trivia/fact video, but I'm going to share it just because, it's information on it. So, this movie was rejected over 40 times over a period of 4 years, I believe, because of how inappropriate it was. Well, other companies said it wasn't really what they were looking for. And then Disney said, wow, the mom falls in love with her own son. We can't do that. So they didn't do that. Let me put this over here. So it came out in 1985, and today is 2020 minus 1985. Today's the 35th anniversary of Back to the Future. Not the day it came out, but the day today's the 5-year anniversary since the day in the second movie, but whatever. So Back to the Future is one of the greatest movies ever, right? As you all know. Just everything about it is great. The acting, the everything. And I'll move on to a brief description now. Now, I won't go into nearly as much depth as I did for my 2001 review because of how many movies I'm covering. I'm covering 1, 2, and 3. But 1, basically, Marty accidentally goes back in time in Doc's DeLorean time machine. And he accidentally makes his mom like him instead of the dad. So he has to get them to go out with each other. Or, you could also read the book that came out. I got this. This is really cool. It was actually written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. It was based on the movie written by them. So they kind of helped write this. I guess change it, So, that's cool. And then Marty goes back in time and he fixes everything. And then that's that. Now, I'm also going to do the second movie rundown. Second movie, basically Marty's son ends up causing issues in the future where his whole family falls apart. So he goes to the future, he fixes that issue, but Biff, while he was gone, used a sports almanac to win races to turn 2015 future into a desolate wasteland. So they have to get the time machine back, and they have to get rid of the almanac and then fix the future, right? By going back to the past. Well, he went back to the past and then got the almanac from young Biff, 1955 Biff, who was given it to him by 2015 Biff, who just went back in time. So anyways, they get it, they burn it, and then the DeLorean gets hit by lightning. Doc gets sent back to 1885. This is the third movie I'm talking about now, where he gets sent back. So he gets sent back. Western Union man tells him, and then he has to get Doc to not die, because Doc is going to die because over $85, and then Marty's going to die because he plans on leaving because the train's late, and Doc ends up getting a wife. That one's way less clear because I haven't seen the 3 really fully, but I have seen 2. So that's just the rundown. Now, these movies, these 3 Back to the Future movies, are some of the greatest films ever made. Back to the Future is just like, there's something special about these movies. The movies have such a good story. The story is just so well. It is one of the greatest trilogies. And the movies work by themselves. Maybe 2 doesn't, and 3, but 1, if 1 was just the only movie, it'd be fine. People will want a sequel, but it would still be a great standalone movie. But 2 and 3, I guess if you could work them in if you took out the kind of the beginning and how it works. If you just kind of introduce the characters and excuse me. Oh. But if you do that, the movies stand alone very well, which is something that's kind of hard to do with most movies and their sequels. I guess it's kind of hard to make them. It's kind of hard to make them connect without making them rely on each other. Like you can watch Back to the Future 2 without watching Back to the Future 1. If somebody explains, hey, these are the characters, here are their names, here's what they do, here's what this is. If they just explain a couple basic things. But you don't need a full movie. Like the Jurassic Park sequels, the sequels are very incohesive. They're not really building a story, really. Jurassic World kind of has, like, Jurassic World 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 coming out soon, I think, or next year. But that is, like, they don't really build a cohesive story that works off of each other. At least the Jurassic Park franchise doesn't do. Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3 really have nothing to do with each other. And 1 and 2 really have nothing to do with each other. They have the same characters, but they don't have anything to do with each other, really. Like, there's some stuff that is mentioned, but they're not working off of each other enough to make them rely on each other. But they're not working but they're working so far apart that they basically don't mean anything as sequels. You're not building up any story when you just throw it away for the next movie. And you're also not building up any story when you're, just making everything so cohesive that the movies can't even work by themselves. So, that's just that about the movies. Now, Back to the Future 2 is the main one I wanted to talk about because it is 5 years exactly after October 21st, 2015. Well, Wednesday, October 21st, 2015. And that means it is the future. And that also means the trilogy will be being re-released. Maybe they'll throw in a surprise. I don't think, because some people have reviewed it. But my thing would be, I would hope they would have given out the full footage of the Eric Stoltz version. See how different they are. There's only like 25 seconds of footage that ever surfaced of it that they've ever published. Now, 2 predicted a lot of things about the future, like smartphones, and stuff like that. That's pretty much it. Well, they did win the World Series, the Cubs, 1 year after, but they did predict a lot of things. Okay, I'm not just gonna say they only predicted like smartphones, which they weren't really in there. Flat screen TVs, stuff like that. But there was a couple of things they got right, I think. But I think there was a lot more that was close, and there was something we probably could make, but we just haven't yet, Nike released the shoes. Maybe they'll release them again today. I don't know yet. I'm filming this before, actually. This is a message for the future. But, so I have no idea yet. Today is the 19th. You should be receiving this message from the Western Union guy from Back to the Future 2 at precisely October 21st, 2020 at 3:30 p.m. But anyways, yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to talk about the movies, their rundown, and my review of the first one. First one, 10. It's super good. Second one, I think I give it a 9.5. Because there's some repeated stuff. Like, they do the same skateboard scene, stuff like that. And 3, I think I'll give 3. I'm not sure. I haven't really seen 3 fully, like I said. And I know that's kind of bad for a review, but I've seen parts of it. I think I'll give 3. Maybe I'll give it the same as Back to the Future 2. I'll give it a 9.5. Because I think they do repeat some stuff, but I'm not entirely sure. But it can't be as good as the original, It's very hard to outdo the original. Anyways, I guess that's for my review of, the Back to the Future trilogy. Looking at the time, I've got to go back. I gotta go back. See ya.